Hello internet! One of the biggest live stream has just ended and it is time again for us to take a look at the mouth-watering characters and feel discouraged when we realize there's no way we can pull all of them. There's Phainon, which somehow became a fallen god of despair looking type character. Saber, the collab character. The best supports being rerun and post-buff characters to think about. We are cooked. But well, today I'll be breaking down all these characters and hopefully help you decide who to go for. I'll first start with a quick conclusion, which is to actually not forcing yourself to prioritize Saber or Archer over getting the newer banners or important supports. The simple reason being, based on the live stream, they have mentioned that this collab banner will not disappear even at the end of the next version. So it will stay for multiple versions, which means the smarter thing to do is to take a look at every other banners first. If you really need or want to rerun banner perhaps, go for that and pull for the collab banner in the next version. But in the next version, you'll be tempted with newer characters as well. So yeah, it's still kind of annoying. Do note that they have not announced when exactly the collab banner will end. But well, seeing that Saber is sick as heck and a lot of people are hyped up for her, I don't think a lot of us would prefer any other characters than her anyway. So if you want her alive, feel free to jump right in for her. Without further ado, let us start. The first character on the list to ruin your financials will be Phainon. One of the fan favorites in the story, and TLDR, he is an overall strong DPS. To start, we have his skill, which is a simple low damage attack that gains him 2 charges of these core flames. These charges can go up to 12 stacks and it acts like an ult charge for Phainon. This is very similar to Acheron, right? With Phainon's talent, he can gain 1 core flame if he's targeted by an ally's skill or by the enemy's attack. The easiest way to tell if you're targeting him is if you have this circle thing on Phainon. If you do, you are targeting him and he will gain core flame and an extra damage boost as well. So if you're using Tribi though or run Mei skill that targets herself, you will not gain core flame on Phainon, hence why he has heavy reliance on the team being able to use skills that target him. This makes characters like Sunday, Bronya, or even RMC quite suitable for Phainon. Not to mention any action advancers like Robin or Sparkle will still be pretty awesome for him. He can still be used with practically anyone like say Cypher that doesn't target Phainon. It's just that the efficiency of the team will drop a little bit. Once again, 12 charges, you can use your ultimate. And with this ultimate, Phainon transforms all about his appearance and literally all about his kit as well. He creates a territory similar to how Castris does it, and in this state, only Phainon will appear in the action bar. All other allies are temporarily gone completely from the battle. This means your allies will not get attacked, they cannot get hit, nor can they do anything as well. They cannot use their ultimate, they cannot gain or use skill points, nothing. They just don't exist. This means if you want to, you can actually run 0 healers in the team and just stamp 3 supports for Phainon. After all, they won't die if they can't get hit at all, right? In Phainon's ulti. Thankfully though, all the buffs from allies and from himself are still going to be on him as well during this ultimate, so this is where we want to do a bunch of damage. In order to do damage, he has 3 different attacks. The first one here, which is the enhanced basic, it is a simple attack which gains 2 stacks of this charge named Scourge on Phainon's second enhanced skill. The alt icon here shows a number decreasing after Phainon's action, so you can expect him to do 8 total moves during this mode, where if the number reaches 0, the mode ends. Moving on to his first enhanced skill, Phainon enters another special state named Soul Scorch. In this state, Phainon forces all enemies to immediately take action while obtaining damage reduction for himself. Every hit he takes increases the Soul Scorch stacks by 1. Once all enemies finish their action, Phainon activates an attack to all enemies and release multiple instances of extra damage to one random enemy. This clears out his Soul Scorch stacks, so that means he will do more damage the more Soul Scorch he gets. To get more of these stacks, you want to get attack a lot more when you use this skill, so the easiest way to do that is to use this skill against a lot of enemies so they can all attack him for more stacks. This makes Phainon actually pretty solid against AoE scenarios as well. And finally, his second enhanced skill, which dispels all debuffs off of Phainon and deal bounce damage based on the number of Scourge stacks on this skill. You can gain Scourge stacks by using his 2 other skills, so that's like his entire playstyle, right? Consuming 4 Scourge stacks will allow Phainon to deal extra damage to all enemies too. He seems to be able to heal after he attacks, so even more survivability for him. Once all his actions written on his alt icon is used up, he deals a final blow on all enemies. This is similar to how Castris' dragon explodes on death. Then he returns to the good old normal form, with all other allies back on the field as well. This is where you have to reset everything, getting enough ultimate charges for him again. And from all of that, it seems that Phainon is a damage dealer that can perform in all scenarios, single or multi-target. The bounce damage is nice to fight multiple enemies or even if it's against one boss. All the bounce bounces will simply hit the boss itself, allowing you to be quite versatile with him. The variable that will decide if Phainon is decent, great, or broken is, as usual, his damage numbers on release. Since he is quite peculiar with the gimmick of removing your whole team from the field for a while, that also means you get no direct support from anyone else while he's in the ultimate. He only has himself. You will have to really be able to do a lot of damage fast in this 8 actions, or else you may fall out of a 0 cycle clear because you didn't have a Bronya there to push him during the ult, or a Hyacinth there to break that enemy a little bit quicker. But that said, that is for 0 cycle clearers. If the question is, can he beat every content as a versatile DPS and safely get your 3-star clears? He very much can. The final caveat here is that he will be quite team dependent. You want to have characters that can target Phainon with a skill. Imagine this as the equivalent of debuffers for Acheron, right? How much damage output you can pull off depends directly on how often you can get these damage dealers' ultimate to be up. If you can, and Phainon does his ult a lot, expect purgatory as you kidnap the whole of the enemy team and you basically become the real boss in the room going 1v5. But then again, it also means he can still be used with anyone, since the criteria to gain his ult is to just either get hit by enemies or getting targeted by allies enough. You will see him get his ult no matter what. It's just that the efficiency goes up or down depending on who you have on your team. To answer the question, should you pull Phainon? The direct answer is pull for who you love, while the meta answer is no if you already have 2 good damage dealers that beats every mode. He can likely 3-star anything as long as you have a decent team for him, seeing as he is the spotlight for the coming story. That usually also means the character will be decently strong based on previous patterns, right? For people hard chasing the meta and the fastest clears, Phainon becomes a gamble. The reason here is that Phainon's gimmick in his ult removes all teammates. A lot of 0 cycle clear rely on getting extra turns or maximizing the turns taken within the 0 cycle, maximizing every ally's energy gain and utilizing every ally's kit fully. By removing them all from the heal, you effectively get rid of the possibility of doing so. Now, I am sure Phainon can still achieve 0 cycle clears when even some of the older 5-stars could, just that it may not be the fastest team to ever grace the earth. Of course, unless he has some inhumanly high multipliers, but that isn't really realistic to assume. Another way to think about this is about future supports. If they do release supports that specializes in helping Phainon gain his stacks, he may become the strongest damage dealer in the game, or at least match the top seed. For now though, I'd personally stick with pull for who you love or skip if you already have 2 good teams that clears everything. With that covered, it's time to look at the next banner, which will be Saber and Archer. Now surprisingly, their kit is relatively easy to understand, so let's just dive right in. Saber's main mechanic starts with her skill, which hits one enemy and adjacent targets, while also gaining these core resonance stacks. If she has enough core resonance and she uses this skill, the core resonances will all be converted into massive amounts of ult energy, instantly allowing you to use your ultimate while increasing her skill damage dealt. Saber's talent is a mechanic that allows her to gain core resonance for every ally that uses their ultimate. This makes energy regenerators pretty suited for her or any allies that does a lot of ults like Tribi. If at any point she gets enough core resonance stacks to convert into her full ultimate, she will instantly take action with her skill, allowing you to ult right away if you so hope to. And then we got Saber's signature ultimate. Deals damage to all enemies and enhances her basic attack. The enhanced basic attack here will attack all enemies and gain her more core resonance. And that's all. It is immensely straightforward and there's nothing to ponder much about. Her value in the meta will be solely dependent on the damage multipliers because of how simple she is to use. Given she is a collab character, I expect her to match at least the level of version 3 damage dealers that we have, but who knows, she might perform better or worse based on the numbers. The question on should you go ahead and grab Saber though, well, do remember her banner will stay even after the end of the next version. While the end date is not determined yet, they did mention that it will stay for a longer period. Plenty of time for you to watch showcases first before deciding, right? Or just pull because you're in Ultra Chat and you enjoy pulling just whoever you love. Moving on, let's take a look at Archer. Another pretty straightforward character, but I'd say there's more to him mechanically than Saber. His main mechanic starts with his skill, which costs 2 skill points and allows him to enter the circuit connection state, dealing damage to only one target. While he's in this state, his turn will not end, allowing him to continually use his skill until he runs out of skill points. The more times you use his skill back to back, the more damage he does. Then you have his ultimate. The classical unlimited blade works. It attacks one enemy and grants him 2 special charges. After any ally attacks, he will spend 1 special charge to perform a follow-up attack. This follow-up attack also restores 1 skill point for the team. And that's all. Honestly, not that complicated too. Now on the topic on should you pull him, well, I mean he is free and his light code is obtainable just by pulling any banners on version 3.4. So the best idea here is to pretty much not pull Archer first and prioritize anyone else. Get his light code for free by pulling on other banners and have a perfectly functional archer given to you nearly for free. On the talk of meta though, it seems he's the perfect ally for Sparkle and Sunday, both of which comes with skill point regeneration and great buffs. Any other conventional supports will also be usable, but the obvious con Archer would have is that he only has single target damage, and he's pretty much the character with the highest potential skill point usage in the game. There will be more planning involved by playing him, which is totally fine, and that's what makes him fun. Will he outdamage the best damage dealers of all time that we have? I have my doubts, but hey, you never know about his numbers. We'll have to see on his release. But yep, simple conclusion, he is free. Go ahead and pull for whoever else first. Get his Lycone for half free, no stress. And finally, it is time to take a look at the reruns and buffed characters too. To start with the more important ones, which will be the first phase rerun banners, we do see Sunday, Tribby, and Sparkle. Literally the creme de la creme of supports. It's pretty much impossible to give a definitive answer, since if you like to pull Phainon, Sunday is obviously incredible for him, while Sparkle wouldn't be half bad too. If you're going to bolster up your Derherda, Mighty, or Castrus teams, Tribby's a no-brainer. She's good just by having her in the team anyway, but when you get her E1, your team's damage output really does skyrocket. For players that already have her, the E1 is truly worth going for. If you're trying to main Saber as well, you'd be pulling Saber to begin with, so you probably don't have much time to think about anyone else anyway. But thankfully though, she should be quite versatile with her team comp, but Sunday is actually a pretty solid choice for her too to get her energy up quick. So yep, straight up, the second best advice I can give here is pull on the reruns based on your account and team comps. If you really need a character for your potential main DPS, like say your Phainon, and you would love to have the Sunday there, you want to go for Sunday as well. There's really no big wiggle room here, and yeah, it is unfortunate, right? There's just too many banners to pick from. The best advice here though, pull for who you love. As for phase 2, we do see Firefly along with two buff characters in Jingliu and Blade. Across all the banners you gotta think about, good luck trying to get anyone from here, to be honest. But yep, Firefly has always been strong, but lately she's been convincingly dethroned by better damage dealers like Castrus and Derherda. However, that doesn't mean you can't use her to get 3-star clears. I mean, she still does decent. However, she does absolutely need a Ron May, which was free as well, so it's mostly a matter of if you want her or not. Do remember though, if you're using RMC, you will suddenly have to have few for her to do well. Otherwise, you'll be doing half the amount of super breaks you can do, and that is not that great. But yeah, meta-wise, she's no longer the queen of damage she once was, but she's still decent. As for Jingliu and Blade, these two are interesting. Jingliu in particular has been buffed, or rather, straight up I would say reworked, where she is now a HP scaling damage dealer. Pretty big change. She also now gains 1 syzygy sacks while entering transmigration state, meaning she just gets to stay in her enhanced form longer. This is a very good change and should allow her damage to go up significantly. But is it enough to pull your resources away from the likes of Phainon and Saber, or just bolster up your supports? It will depend once we get to test her next week on this channel. Blade's buff is also quite helpful, where he now has a higher chance to be attacked during his Hellscape state, and his follow-up attack now regenerates more energy. But it's a solid buff, it definitely won't make him a top tier damage dealer out of nowhere. However, certainly strong enough to be used in today's meta, even if you have the best team for him though, which will need Tribby and Hyacinth plus your Lycone. We'll have to see when we get to test him, but in my opinion, you're probably having your hands full with the collab, Phainon, and support reruns, so unless Blade and Jingliu turn out to be exceptional, I wouldn't prioritize them for now. But as usual, the best idea, pull for who you love playing with. And that will be all for today. Let me know how you're gonna go through this painful, exciting update where we have a boatload of content, but also not enough pulls to grab them all, man. I gotta go rob a hospital now, and take care.